So I have a question for you. Out of all of these engagements and workshops you've been doing, what is the most asked question afterwards or during? Like, what do people want to know the most about?
It became very clear. As you can see, a lot of the events that we went to, the presentations we gave, it stemmed around small and the smaller size, medium-sized businesses. Most often than not, they're busy, as they say, all in the boat rowing, and they don't have time to go researching AI and things like this. So that was the primary question afterwards. Like, well, here's what I do for a living. How do you think AI would work here?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the TechTea podcast with McLean Forrester. I'm Heather McLean here today with Larry McLean, and we have lots to catch you up on. Right, Larry?
There's been a lot going on. We haven't done an episode in a little bit because, and you're about to hear, we've been out on the speaking circuit and spreading the good word of AI and technology and automation. So, yeah, we'll tell you about that.
That takes a lot of work to get ready for some of those presentations. And on top of that, we have a couple new service offerings that we have been working very hard to get out. So let's dig into it. We always start off our podcast with a little, section we called What's the Tea, right? What are the rumors? What's the latest news in technology? And when I was trying to think of what we wanted to talk about today, I really just, my first thought was just how great Anthropic's Claude has gotten lately, and just how our whole organization is just blazing fast with some of Claude's capabilities. The most recent is, especially if you're a small business owner, they now have a small business plugin. So I'm going to be playing with that coming up in the next, week or two. I haven't really given that a try yet, but it's really integrated in all our processes. What would you say, Larry? Isn't it like your tool of choice now?
It is. We've tried several. Each one has its own unique features. And if you're on LinkedIn or any other social media, you're always seeing someone posting, oh, this one is good for this and this one is good for that. But at the end of the day, it's been very interesting that we've landed on Claude, the project's capability, the co-work capability. There's so many capabilities built within it, and it works extremely well. So hopefully Anthropic will send us a check for this plug.
Yeah. And also it's integrated into all of our engineering and coding processes. So we've really gone full speed ahead with leveraging AI with a human in the loop, of course, for sanity. But it's just made our team so much faster and more efficient.
So let's talk about our speaking engagements. So we started off the year. We'll go into kind of a quarterly cycle of, all right, what speaking opportunities are coming up next? And then after that, and then after that. And we did probably, how many did we do last year? Probably 6 or 7 or so.
Mm-hmm.
In this first quarter alone, we've already done 4 in 3 months. So we're cruising.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first one, right? It was the St. Louis Business Expo. Heather, you did that one. I could not attend, so that was
right. That was my first foray into the speaking, and it was a lot of fun. So the St. Louis Small Business Expo is really targeted towards the small business owner, and I spoke about AI for business value. So some basics about what AI is and how you can leverage it in your business. And so that was great. I had a nice, good sized audience for that, and just so many people out there who just want to learn and just want more information. And it was really nice to just have that audience and talk through it and meet with people afterwards. It was a lot of fun. I appreciated that one.
Next up was Tech St. Louis, right?
Oh,
that was
yeah.
the big event here in St. Louis, one whole week of different events. You spoke on one day session and I spoke on a different day session. So yours is up first. What did you call it?
I talked about, I think it was called Win-Win, how to build client and people first AI organization. So, we really say that we are client first, we are people first. And so how do you do that? And how do you do that sort of with AI in the mix? It was a lot of fun to talk about our culture and how we've developed that over the years, and how we treat people and clients, and just giving kind of a good overview of how we do things. And that was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed practicing on my speaking expertise, I guess, and trying to hone that craft. I'm definitely not an expert, but I'm trying to hone that craft, and looking forward to some future speaking engagements. And then right after the day I briefed, then you briefed the very next day. And what did you talk about?
So basically, we're finding out in a lot of these, and we'll talk more about this here in a little bit as well. A lot of what we're trying to do is just spread the word. And sometimes that's to large businesses, sometimes that's to medium businesses, but a lot of these are small business conferences, and that's okay by us. We want everyone to succeed. It becomes more of a personal thing. Mine was from hype to impact, how we build AI that delivers. And that was of interest to a lot of folks in the room where they want to know, how do I use AI within my organization? And how do you, McLean Forrester, build AI capabilities when many others are failing? And so we had a lot of insight for folks, and it was well received.
It was nice. Yeah. And then the next two were more like courses and workshops, right? They really weren't as much speaking engagements. Maybe you can talk about those a little bit.
Sure. I was invited out to the O'Fallon, Missouri Chamber of Commerce, and they have a large Chamber of Commerce there. I think they said the number was around 90 or 100 and 105, something like that, people in the room. It was a great audience, great questions. A lot of small businesses and some mid-sized businesses in the O'Fallon, Missouri area. I gave probably a 45-minute speech there, presentation, and it was AI for organizational advantage. Again, we want to see these small and medium-sized businesses survive, because big organizations, they're investing heavily, and they're just going to pull away from all the small businesses, and we don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. And then the last one, that one was probably more of like a workshop, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was more of a workshop. So we were invited, I was invited to present a module. This organization named Greater St. Louis, they do a series where small companies and companies who want to scale, they don't have to be necessarily small, they want to scale. And it's a 10-week course where companies pay a fee, and they go through and they learn various aspects of operating and scaling their business. My session, and they had invited, was AI driving growth and sales. Is how do you use AI within your business to speed up processes, bring in automation, things like that. And it was extremely well received. I had several people come up afterwards and tell me that was just a fantastic session.
Tell me about, what are the things you were talking about in that workshop, and what did they want to hear about most?
We kind of have a common theme across a lot of our presentations. One, because there's so many people saying, I don't know if this AI thing is really going to stick. I don't know if it's really for me, and all of these things. And we give them the facts. A lot of good research has been done. Things like what happens when a company actually adopts, digitally transforms their business. The companies who are adopting, they have greater than 3 times revenue growth. What's it do to their profit margin? A 17% higher profit margin. Things like better customer retention. So you kind of get into these areas where how can I sustain my business? So that becomes that burning platform question. 26% better customer retention. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's almost like these small businesses, in order to stay competitive, they're going to have to learn how to leverage AI to keep up with the bigs, aren't they?
Absolutely, because it's a situation where it's not all of a sudden you wake up one day, it's like, oh, I haven't done any AI in my company, and therefore I need to close the doors. It's going to be a steady and slow erosion of the companies who have adopted and can do it faster, can do it cheaper,
Right.
more efficiently, more accurately, all of the things that automation can bring. They're going to keep winning the work, and it's going to be a tougher struggle for your company to not win that work.
I read an awesome article called The Seven Economies of AI, and it talked about how organizations are going to find themselves in one of 7 groups over time. Everything from the farmer who's like, I'm just growing blueberries, I don't need any stinking AI, to those people who are just adopting it maybe, and they're going to start to see efficiencies. All the way to the people who are going to be agentic AI first. But there's a group in there where they know about AI, but they choose not to do anything about it. And I think those are the organizations at most risk, because the people are going to slowly just start choosing other organizations above them because they're more efficient, they're cheaper, whatever, because they have leveraged these new technologies. I thought that was a really cool way to think about it, and we'll see how that changes over time.
Yeah. It becomes real. There are some industries where it's hit first. right? I'm still at a loss of trying to find almost any industry that it's not going to be
Right.
impacted. Is it going to replace the electrician? No, but all the processes around finding the work, winning the work,
Even
performing the
doing the
work,
work, right? Yeah.
doing the work accurately and smartly, all of those peripheral things around the human makes up that human machine ecosystem. They're going to perform better,
Yeah.
right? And one of the big numbers of research facts that came out is 70% of businesses that have adopted, AI and digital transformation, they're going to have 70% more longevity.
Wow.
That's a scary number.
It's
When you
huge.
build a business, your heart, your soul, your sweat equity is into
As
it.
we know.
Yeah, and you don't want to think of it just going away.
No, it's a terrible
And
thought.
by some investment in AI and automation to remain competitive, you can
Yeah.
help reduce the risk of your longevity being taken away.
So that's the burning platform, as you'd
Yeah.
say. What are some of the other things that you've been hitting on in your speeches?
We've taken a lot of feedback, right? So the second piece we always talk about is what types of AI are there?
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone says, "Well, I've dabbled with ChatGPT or I've played with Claude." That's not what we're talking about. That's a portion. It fits,
Mm-hmm.
but there's so much more. So we talk about the depths of AI, what types of AI there are, and we run through the whole series so they're aware at least of what can be employed in their organization. The next one is, the business value of front office versus back office type of
Mm.
employment of AI. Front office is something that's directly touching your customers. Back office is what are all those administrative or support functions in your organization that can also be sped up. It helps orient your thinking of where do I invest my money.
When I was doing my research, I found a really cool statistic. I think it was in one of the McKinsey's latest State of the AI reports. And what they were finding was that, yes, using AI gives companies an advantage, but the companies that were actually redesigning their processes around AI, they were the real winners. They were the ones seeing the greatest impact to bottom line, and the greatest return on investment. So it's not just about bolting on a piece of AI, right? It's about completely changing how you do work. That's not easy.
No, it's my latest paper, which hasn't been released yet, but I think I'm done with it. It'll come out soon. You did proofread for me, so thank you. But that's what we're calling technological synergy.
Yes.
What does that mean? Okay, well, synergy is putting two pieces together, and the sum is greater than just the two pieces put together, right? And but the technological piece is to Heather's point a moment ago. I can rebuild a process and make it more streamlined, and then bolt on technology, or I can think through, wait a minute, what technologies are out there that are actually game changing, and maybe I don't even have to do this process this way anymore at all.
Right. Right.
So it's really thinking through understanding the technology side and the business process side and putting those together and totally reimagining how it could be done.
That's really the kind of work that we want to be doing. That's where we're going to help organizations get to real value of AI implementation.
And I think as a company, McLean Forrester is very well suited for that. We, between our founders and our team, years and years of experience, hundreds of process reengineering events taken place, running IT networks, enterprise data, emerging
Right.
technologies, writing software for ecosystems for large pizza chains. We bring all of those skills now in a culmination of, we can help sit down with
Yeah.
you and reimagine your process.
So I have a question for you. Out of all of these engagements and workshops you've been doing, what is the most asked question afterwards or during? Like, what do people want to know the most about?
It became very clear. As you can see, a lot of the events that we went to, the presentations we gave, it stemmed around small and the smaller size, medium-sized businesses. Most often than not, they're busy, as they say, all in the boat rowing, and they don't have time to go researching AI and things like this. So that was the primary question afterwards. Like, well, here's what I do for a living. How do you think AI would work here?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really understand AI. I use ChatGPT at home. How would I ever do that in my business? And so through that, we've kind of summarized, you know what, there's a great market for this. And we test drove that in the greater St. Louis presentation, where there are small and scaling businesses to say, I have no clue of how to use AI in my business. Can you help?
Yeah. Yeah, and that has really bled into our new and latest offering, which is the AI learning path. So we have the AI value path, which helps you find your AI project candidates, prioritize them, and start prototyping them. That's one of our current offerings. Now now we'll have the AI learning path, and that is a tiered approach to learning. Starts with a foundations course, similar to the one you just recently taught. It's called AI ROI for Business. And that's just kind of gives you the basics. It helps you learn how to speak intelligently about AI. And then building on that, we have an applications course. And then after that is a strategy course. These are all going to be online and live workshops that, Larry, you're going to be teaching. So, what is the most thing you're looking forward to when we're going to kick this off on June 10th?
I want to see outcomes. That's my motivator, as I learned many years ago. If I can make a difference. And so as people
Right.
sign up and they come to this course, my hope is every single one of them comes away, and that'll be the intent. Every single one of them comes away with an understanding of what AI is, how it can be used, what types there are, and how would I apply it within my company. And which we found it was very, very important to include hands-on scenarios and exercises so that they can get comfortable with it.
So this first class, our first offering is going to be June 10th. We're offering special reduced pricing. It's going to be a morning course, a 4-hour workshop. And you're exactly right. It's a blend of education, hands-on exercises, and even gets into the strategic planning. So if you take nothing else, even if you just take that foundations course, you're going to walk away with practical things you can use in your own business. If you can't tell, I'm super excited. I know you're teaching it, but I'm really excited just because I think there's a real need for this. And I'm excited that we're going to be able to bring this to people at such a deal, to be honest. It's a really good deal. So we'll put some links in the information on this podcast and direct you to the right place. But you can always start at mcleanforrester.com on our website.
And pretty much everything you heard us talking about that we've given in our presentations, that's now going to be applied within this course. But more importantly, it's hands-on. And that's a key piece here, is don't just hear about it from theory and a book or whatever. This is going to be hands-on. Here's how you actually use it.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up what we wanted to cover today. I know it's short and sweet, but we didn't want to delay getting these out anymore and getting this information to you. Is there anything you'd like to add, Larry, as we say goodbye?
No, episode 13. We're still trying to get them out.
We're still doing it, guys.
But I think it's lucky for us.
Yep. And I think we're going to start doing some special guests coming up. We're going to start looking into that. And maybe even our own Rose Knight, we can get her on here. She's officially joining full-time with McLean Forrester in June. And so we're really excited. And I think we need to do an interview with her.
She's brilliant.
Yep. We love her. I'm so happy she's going to be joining us. All right, everybody. I think that's a wrap. And I appreciate everybody listening. All 6 of you. Thank you for following us. Hopefully it's more than that. But no, we'll hopefully talk to you in the next another month or 2 with our next episode. But until then, stay cool and check out our website, check out our new course offerings. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.